Good evening, friends, and a very warm welcome to the 1230th episode of KK Med Talk. This is the special Barrow Buddy show that we run on every Wednesday, the person's voice. And today's theme is really special. When you look at the topic for today, we have a special topic: obesity and fiber. So, fiber is something very, very important for our body, not only for obesity, but diabetes and multiple health benefits. So much so, it is even important to prevent cancer. बट आज हमारे टॉक शो पे हम स्पेसिफिकली बात करेंगे फाइबर और ओबेसिटी के लिए एंड वी हैव आवर स्पेशल गेस्ट टुडे हु इज नॉट न्यू टू ऑल ऑफ यू एज ऑडियंस ही हैज बीन हियर बिफोर and I would say with his popularity we are honored to welcome again Indrajit Eswalia. He's a senior dietitian at Saket Hospital, Ambala, and also wears the hat of the prestigious honorary secretary of IPN India, the Karnal chapter. A very warm welcome to you, Indrajit. Thank you for coming again, and really looking forward to talk about and listen about fiber in especially obesity.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for kind introduction. And I also would like to extend, sir, my heartful gratitude to Dr. Sanjay Kalada, sir. He is our president, IPN Canal chapter. So, for such great opportunities that he is creating by the collaboration of IPN and the KK Med Talks. And yes, I'm going to talk about today the obesity and fiber. Can I have my slides? Uh, yeah. So last time we have discussed about obesity and protein and the same sequence. Today I'm going to talk about the. I'm audible to you, all of you. Yeah. So today I'm going to discuss the topic of obesity and fiber, and as we as we know that the protein has its own role in managing obesity and preventing obesity by multiple other ways. So in the same way, fiber has the same context. Fiber plays a role in the same way. So before jumping into the topic of fiber, let's get understand exactly is obesity. So we know that obesity, if someone is having BMI of greater than 25, then we consider him as overweight or obese. And the most causes the of obesity is like dietary pattern, the way we consume these days, the very high calorie diet, energy dense, and the diet which has very low fiber content in it. So the dietary pattern that we are following these days is one of the most important reason, considered reason for the obesity. And the other reason is our, of course, is our physical inactivity in the urban settings that we perform on the day-to-day basis, that we practicing sedentary lifestyle and the low energy expenditure, as there is no as such any exercise that we are performing. So there is energy there, so there is exercise induced thermogenesis is very low, and apart from it, the NEAT, which is the non-exercise energy non-exercise associated thermogenesis, is also considerably low in the urban settings. While if we see the other factors, the genetic factors also performs a great role in the obesity, and along with the hormonal imbalance, psychological factors, and the eating disorders like bulimia nervosa and nervosa bulimia, and the environmental and social factors also plays a crucial role in the obesity. And if we see this is the basically tools to diagnose the obesity, and we see the BMI, and there are multiple other tools are now also available, which can also more focus to the adiposity, or calculating the visceral fat content. So there are like DEXA scans is available. There is body there is waist circumference is also one of the tools to diagnose the obesity. And here we can see the Asian specific BMI cutoffs shown that has lower cutoffs as compared to the Eastern and the European cutoffs of the BMI. We have a cutoff of 24.9, which is 22.9 as considered as the normal BMI, while 23 to 24.9 is considered as the overweight, and greater than 25 is considered as the obese class 1. And here we jumping into the fiber, and we all know that fiber is something which is non-digestible carbohydrate. It comes belongs to the carbohydrate family, which is one of our macronutrient. So the portion of the plant food that resists digestion and absorption in the small intestine, and it passing largely intact into the colon. So it is the outermost layer of the plants. It basically fundamental property of the plants that it has fiber in it. It has cellulose, hemicellulose in it, which is considered as the fiber, and this is the outermost layer of the particular cereal or pulses. If we see that the outermost layer, which is known as the bran, which we know as the fiber, and includes soluble and insoluble components found in cereals, legumes, and fruits. So we will see that the recommended dietary daily fiber intake recommended by the ICMR is 30 to 35 gram of for the adult men's, and for the adult woman it is 20 to 25 gram. But if we see in the Indian context, the average Indian diet provides only 10 to 15 grams per day on day to day basis, while the guideline is up to 20 to 35 gram of fiber in day-to-day basis. So we are mostly fiber deficient in Indian context, and there are a lot of fiber deficiency related disorders that I personally used to see in my day in day out basis. Like there are a lot of patients who are suffering from constipation. There are patients suffering from chronic constipation. There is GERD, gastroesophageal related issues or symptoms, like they have bloating issues, they feel heaviness, they feel like they have IBS related syndromes, IBS related problems as well, and the other problems like weight gain, blood sugar spikes, or diabetes incidences, and the raised cholesterol. One of the most major cause of low fiber diet is that the low fiber diet and the high refined carb diet also raise cholesterol in an individual. And also having low fiber diet also leads to the leads to the poor gut microbiome. And there is also higher disease risk of colon disorders, colon cancer, and also multiple other metabolic syndrome. So if we see the types of fibers, there is soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. There is only two types of fiber, and as its name suggests, soluble, so it is dissolved in water and forms a gel, and it is slowing down the digestion and gastric emptying, as it has forms a very thick gel-like substance. So it slowed down the entire digestion process, and also very also reduce down the gastric emptying time. It also, the soluble fiber also lowers the LDL cholesterol by binding through the bile acid which is produced by the liver and excrete out from the body. So same way, this cycle keep on moving, and it helps to lower down the LDL cholesterol. And if we see, it also helps in regulating the blood glucose and managing the diabetes risk as well. We always see that it offers better gastric emptying time, and it also slows down the digestion. And the same way that the fiber that water the fiber, the soluble fiber forms a thick jelly like a jelly like substance which resists down to release the glucose. And so very gradually releases the glucose, as compared to those who consumes very high carb diet or a very high refined carb diet. So there is very high blood glucose spikes, as compared to the those who's consuming a high soluble fiber diet. So the soluble fiber found in oats, barley, apples, citrus fruits, guava, legumes, and chia seeds. And the insoluble fiber, if you see, it doesn't dissolve in the water, and it adds bulk to the stool. And it has also a very great importance, and it adds bulk to the stool, and it speeds up the transit through the gut. So those who are suffering from the constipation issues and the gut related issues, the insoluble fiber is also very important for them, and it prevents the constipation. And it found in the wheat bran, vegetables, in some seeds. And the fiber classes, If we see, there are almost six classes of fiber. And if we see, it's the cellulose, hemicellulose, pectins, lignins, beta glucans, and gums. These are the classes of the fiber. And the cellulose is considered as entirely insoluble in the structural component of plant cell walls, and providing the bulk and resist digestion and accelerate the intestinal transit only, and contains in the wheat bran, whole grains, vegetable skins, and legumes coats. If we see the hemicellulose, it is a mixed type of fiber. It has the both properties of soluble and insoluble, and contributes to the stool bulking, while at the same time its fractions are also fermentable as well. So if you see the pectin, it forms the gel and found in the citrus fruits and apple and guava. And lignin is also belongs to the fiber, dietary fiber as well, but it is not as such part of the carbohydrate family. But it founds in the woody plant structures, and the mostly found in the bark of the trees, or apart from it, it found in the sugar cane husk that we have left over. And it's found in the vegetable stalks and whole grains. Beta glucan is considered very strong and potent cholesterol lowering, as it is found in oats and barley. Gums is basically viscous and slows down gastric emptying, and found in the legumes, guar, oats, and also in the okra, which is bindi. So, food sources of soluble fiber are fruits, oats and barley, seeds like chia seeds, flax seeds, sabja seeds. They all are the sources of the soluble fiber. And legumes like rajma, moong, tur dal, soya chunks, edamame. They are also the sources of the soluble fiber. Apart from vegetables, avocado and sitafal, they are also having a significant amount of soluble fiber in it. And the insoluble fiber contains insoluble fiber has are the having whole wheat and grains, brown rice and wheat bran, cruciferous vegetables, berries, vegetable skins and roots. And there are nuts like almonds and walnuts. They have insoluble fiber. And apart from seeds like pumpkin, sunflower seeds, and makhanas, they have the sources of the insoluble fiber. So here I've made the list of best to worst foods that has the fiber content in it. If we see, S stands for the super, which is having the highest fiber content, and F stands for the lowest or worst food that has the least amount of fiber content in it. If we see the the worst amount, the worst food, which is F section, the animal based products. Animal based products are having zero fiber content in it, because fiber is a fundamental properties of plant based sources, and animal sources has absolutely zero fiber content in it. And if we see the S section, that the kala chana or the bengal gram having uh, having a 6.8 gram of fiber content in a 100 kilocalorie, or in a single exchange. So if we see sabut urad having a 5.4, and barley and peas have comparatively belongs to other classes of foods, comparatively higher fiber content in it. And if we see guava, and guava has 7.3 gram of 7.3 gram of fiber content in it. And if we compare our traditional salad plate, which is consist of cucumbers or tomatoes or onion or carrots, which has just 2 to 3 grams of fiber in a whole plate, which is 150 gram of plate. And if we compare it to the guava, a single 150 gram of guava contains almost 10 gram of fiber content in it. So we need to see that what foods we are consuming on day out basis, and accordingly considered our foods. So I must suggest that we should consider this chart as a reference for considering high fiber diet. And the advantages of soluble fiber, it lowers LDL cholesterol that we already discussed, that it binds to the bile acid that which produces through the liver and excrete out from the body, and stabilizes blood sugar by uh, increasing the gastric emptying time, and also improving the satiety levels. And it also enhances the satiety. Gel formation slows gastric emptying and curbs. It also curbs the appetite. and the other one is the feeds gut microbiota. It works as the soluble fiber works as the prebiotic for our probiotic, which is lactobacillus and bifidobacteria, which are the good bacteria which forms our gut, and which also produces the short chain fatty acid, which is acetate, propionate, and butyrate. And among these three short chain fatty acid, butyrate is one of the potent short chain fatty acid, which uh, contributes to the gastric lining, the intestinal wall lining, and also it helps to reduces the inflammation, and that also helps in building the immunity as well. And if you see the advantages of insoluble fiber, it helps to prevent the constipation by forming the bulk and soften stool for the regularity. And it speeds up the bowel transit and reduces time toxins remains in the colon. Also reduce down the colon cancer risk, supports colon cancer by associated with lower diverticular and colon cancer risk. And it is very important in weight control by offering low energy density, add fullness, and add volume to our diet without so much of calories. Now, here we are seeing the fibrous mechanism in obesity management. If we see, fiber is a really potent tool for the prevention and the management of the obesity, not because it just break down the fat cells, or just break down or just burns the calories, but because of its own properties, that it has increased the satiety levels. And by gel forming, fiber expands in the stomach and signaling fullness for sooner, and also delays down the gastric emptying, and reducing the calorie absorption, and improving the gut microbiota and short chain fatty acid. Fiber also produces gut hormones like GLP-RAs, uh, along with peptide YY, which further reduce down the satiety, and it also works over the hunger hormones like leptin and ghrelin. It reduces the concentration of ghrelin and the sensitivity of the ghrelin, so further reduce down the satiety, further reduce down the appetite. So here we're discussing the fiber and metabolic risk factor. As we already discussed, that the fiber has huge role in reducing the type 2 diabetes. It improves the insulin sensitivity and lowers the postprandial glucose spikes by gradually releasing the glucose. And it also helpful in the cardiovascular diseases by lowering the LDL cholesterol levels by binding with the bile acids, and also very helpful in the colon health by shortens the transit times, dilute carcinogens, and promotes regularity. So the practical steps to increase the fiber intake: ensure that half of the plate should comes from the vegetables, and add a legumes daily, which is dals or rajma or lentils. Add these two into your plate on a day-to-day basis, and increase water intake, and increased fruit with skin like apple, guava. Do ensure that you are eating on day-to-day basis, and choose whole grains as compared to the refined grains or refined flour. Choose whole wheat, millets, and oats, and increase fiber gradually. And so today's key takeaways from my presentation will be that obesity is growing, as we all know, that it is a multifactorial and epidemic health burden across India and to the world. And but fiber and protein could be the one of the potent prevention and and the management in the obesity. And fiber is most under consumed in typical Indian diet, and average intake is well below recommended levels. And both soluble and insoluble fiber play distinct, well complementary roles in the weight management. And fiber not only offers satiety, it also offers glycemic control, cholesterol reduction, gut health, and also reduce down the risk of multiple cancers as well. And the use of SABCDF framework to consciously choose higher fiber foods daily. So thank you so much, and that's all from my side.
Thank you so much for that very crisp presentation and very succinct. आपने time में मतलब 20 मिनट में इतना कुछ बता दिया, and I think our audience is over thrilled. There are a lot of greetings coming to you from people, I think, from different parts of the country. Arvinder Kaur ji आपको नमस्ते बोल रहे हैं, स्वप्ना जैन, सरताज सिंह, रामजी अग्रवाल, शुभम बंसल, all of them giving you good compliments. आपने ओवरऑल ये सिर्फ यही नहीं बताया कि मतलब what's the science behind fiber and obesity, but the most important the mechanisms, but the practical aspects कि क्या करना चाहिए, क्या खाने से फाइबर मिलता है, and how it really affects the whole metabolic milieu. There are a lot of questions coming in, but maybe the first question. These days, we have a lot of apps which can tell us, in a particular food item, how much fiber is there. So, if somebody wants to know कि एक दिन में उनको कितना फाइबर खाना चाहिए, and is it different for men and women, तो आप क्या बोलेंगे?
यस, वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस दैट कि जो मेल्स के लिए जो फाइबर का आरडीए है विच इज़ प्रिस्क्राइब्ड बाय द आईसीएमआर, इट इज़ 35 ग्राम, एंड फॉर फीमेल इट इज़ 25 ग्राम. सो वन नीड्स टू इंश्योर कि उनकी डाइट में एटलीस्ट 25 से 35 ग्राम जो है फाइबर कंटेंट डेली बेसिस पे ज़रूर हो. इसके साथ साथ येस, वी कैन टेक हेल्प फ्रॉम एप्स. मल्टीपल एप्स आर अवेलेबल, फूड एप्स विच कैन टेल अस कि हाँ, दिस फूड हैज़ दिस मच ऑफ फाइबर एंड दिस मच ऑफ प्रोटीन. सो वी डेफिनेटली यूटिलाइज दोज एप्स इंफॉर्मेशन.
Brilliant. Akshay Yadav ji पूछ रहे हैं कि is having black coffee for bowel movements a good habit or a bad habit? Some people are dependent. जब तक उनको सुबह का चाय या कॉफी नहीं मिलता तो they find it difficult to pass motion. तो उसके लिए what would you suggest?
I would say not exactly. Black coffee is something which is very high in caffeine, but it also contains one phytochemicals or antioxidant, which is catechins, which is very useful in the fatty liver. But if we see the constipation or something, I don't think so that it is much effective management for the constipation. So we could have, he should probably need to increase the insoluble fiber content into his diet.
I agree. Fiber and water as well. Drinking 2 to 3 liters of water, especially in summers, is also something that really helps with the motion. So, right. And black coffee has its advantages, but I would say excess of everything is bad. In moderation would be the way forward. Right. So, I think it was a fantastic session. A lot of compliments and greetings coming to you from across India. I think आपने काफी सारे क्वेश्चंस अपने टॉक में ही आंसर कर दिए, एंड so people are not having many questions at this point in time, but I think we really love you to come back on this platform, which in such a succinct way you could convey so many important points. Thank you for coming, and can we have a certificate for
Thank you so much, sir.
great.
Thank
So
you so
lovely.
much.
And before we leave you, I think Mrs. स्वप्ना जैन जी एक न्यूमोनिक दे रहे हैं फाइबर का, आपकी टॉक से इंस्पायर होके. F for fullness, I for improved insulin response, B for bacterial boost, E for energy density, and R for regulated metabolism. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Swapna ji, for that easy mnemonic with fiber and covering all the points that were covered in the talk. Arvinder Kaur ji कह रहे हैं कि due to IBS some days the constipation is on some days and loose motions on other days, and what type of fiber to be taken. So how would you answer that? This is probably the last question.
If we see the IBS thing, the IBS has actually the multiple types, which is IBS. If it is IBS-C, IBS-D, or IBS-M, so we need to see it whether which type of IBS it is. So accordingly, we used to make a diet for that particular individual. So basically, in IBS, we used to consider that something which is FODMAP diet. So it is fructose, oligosaccharide, disaccharide, monosaccharide, and polyols, which we need to give the lower content of these all foods. But in short, we mostly give soluble fiber, a little soluble fiber initially, and then we gradually keep on increasing it. So that would be my answer for the right now. But IBS needs very detailed counseling actually.
I agree, and IBS is just not only about fiber; it's about a lot of food discipline in general, so that the problems and the symptoms can be really avoid it. So thank you for that answer. And I think with this we come to an end of today's session. Thank you so much, Indrajit J, for enlightening our
Thank you so much,
audience.
sir.
And great presentation. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day.